Okay, so you can ignore the yesterday's video what was sent to you. Then you can try to use this video. Okay, so we'll do for one of your retool refinement. Later we'll go for the next process. Okay, so now, as I told, so I think you got some email in the morning. If you open that email, then you will get the data for FE203. Okay, so whatever is in the morning. Okay, so I'll go here. So this is there are actually three files. I'll just open one by one. So first file is your bulk file. Then there is second one, which is your high temperature file, and then there is a third one also, which is normally for your nano. Okay, this is the same Fe2O3 which was initially we did the synthesis for nano, so something like this. You can see it is having broad peak. Then what we do, we anneal at different temperature. Okay, so the red one was annealed at 700 degrees C. So you can see it is becoming sharper, and the blue one was annealed at something like it was sintered at 1200. Okay, 1200. So this we will use for crystallite size calculation also. So for that reason I have sent you that those files. So what we will do is we will take this highly crystalline sample, which is, you can see the blue one, which is the bulk. So bulk means it is 1200 degree sintered sample. So then we will try to do the retool refinement on this. Okay, so after that we will use the same data for doing crystallite size calculation. Okay, so I will open this data, so which is your bulk. So this is the bulk sample. Data is not that good because it was corrected very for short time. So still we will just for practice, I'm going to show this. So first thing is I'm going to select all the background points, and then we'll go for the next one. Okay, uh, so I'm going to select the your background points. So still you can get better data if I collect this for longer time. Okay, so we didn't collect for a long time, so that is why it is having a lot of noise here. Okay, so now in this case what happens, so I have done this backgrounds. I will save it. So I'm just saving in different folders. So then the first step is again you do the same. You have to create a PCR file. So you can go to EDPCR, and then you can create that EDPCR. Okay. So let us see that. So first we'll take a new PCR. Then all the things are activated. All right. This is a bulk Fe2O3. Then we'll go for pattern. Add a pattern. So this is XY form. So it is this form. So you should you should copy the data file into the folder, working folder. Okay. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm copying that into this folder. Then this is copper radiation with K alpha 1 alpha 2, and the pseudo void I'm using pseudo void. So then background I'll use linear background. Excluded regions I will leave it like that. So I will show one of the example how it goes. So by default it will take entire range. Okay. So now I will save it as bulk FeTO3 bulk, but don't use dot dat. It will create a dot PCR. Okay. So I'll just remove the dot dat. Then I will save it. So then I'll go to phase. I will add the first phase. So first we will do the profile matching. So profile matching for Fe2O3. Then contribution is we have X-ray diffraction data. Then I'm going to change it to Thomson Cox. Symmetry would be, so for this symmetry you can either do Quellex or you can use directly the your SIF file. Okay, so you can go open your Quellex and then try to do the profile matching. Okay, or you can what I did is I just downloaded this SIF files. I'll open them in Notepad. So this is a first SIF file from one of the things. So you can see there is uh, atomic coordinates. So these are the atomic coordinates, and then we'll also have space group. Okay, so the space group is R minus 3C, and then you have ABC parameters here. Okay, so if you open the other one, which is from a different uh, website, it would have also have the same or similar data. Okay, so this is the second file, but you can see here it is extended, so it is not just uh, so here it is extended. So but if you go and see the ABC parameters, it will be almost same. Okay, so let us use this AMS data. So this is R minus 3C space group. You can find the equivalent number, or you can also write the space group. Okay, so let us go back to this. Then this thing. I will drag it to slightly this side. Okay, so I can see that SIF file. So phase, we'll do phase. We have to take the phase matching with constant scale. Okay, if not, we will not get phase match. You can give any name also, or I'll put hematite. Okay, so this is hematite. So I'll put in hematite, or I can put Fe2O3. Then when you go to this, this is fine. I go to symmetry. Here I have to put R minus 3C. R then space minus 3 space C. Okay, and then I'm going to just get the symmetry operations automatically. So now once you have this, then I go to refinement. I will make it as 10 cycles. Okay, then I go to background. I will try to import the background with 18 points, which we did just now. And then we go to instrumentation. I'll make this 0 open. Okay, I'll save it. Then I come back again, and then I'll try to put the ABC parameters. Okay, so A is 5.038. So same thing would be the B, 5.038, and then the next one is C, which is 13.770. Okay, so it is rest would be 90, 90, and 120. Okay, so what I will do is I will show one more thing, like I'll put 90, 90, 90, but this is not the correct one, right? Because it should be 90, 90, 120 as it is your external structure. So now I will try to just make this save it. Then what I will do, I will close this point, and then I'm going to open the same in the notepad. Okay, so I'll open this PCR file in notepad, and then I'll put this as automatic one, just to show what are the things we can do. Okay, then I am not having any excluded regions to show to demonstrate that it is going to take the data which is already available in the your data file. Okay, so then I have what I will do, I'll put auto 1, and I need to also refine the parameters. So initially I will just refine the 0 because this is profile matching. So I'll put 1 1. Then same thing I'll do for 2 3 and 4. Okay, sorry, A and B and C. 21 21 because A is equal to B. Then C is different, so I'll put 31. So even you can just do like this, it will automatically take. Okay, so let us run the program from your this file. So I have to go go to this, and then I have to run this. Okay. So it didn't give any so it's okay. Like even in the first trial, it has come to 4.78. Even the data is not good, so you can see this RP RWP would be higher because this also depends on the data. Okay. So now what I will do is I will just try to do finish this quickly. Okay. So this is position is fine, and then you can see it has taken the fitting from whatever data is available. Okay, so the data was available from 20 to 80, so it is doing fitting from 20 to 80. So peak position is fine because we already had done the ABC refinement. So I will go back here. So it was 5.038. So let me see. So it is changed to slightly less. Okay, 5.037, and then it is already uh, fine fit. I will try to get the uh, uh, peak shape better. So because peak shape is not good, so what I will do is I will do refinement for X and Y. Okay, or I'll just do for X, only for X. So I go here. I will ask the program to fit this X. I'll save it. So each time you need to save this. Okay, if not, then it will not take the changes. Okay. So then I'm going to run it again. So you can see already it's done quite, your chi-square is already good. So you can see this is one of the example. If the model is good and if you're having good pure phase, even without a good data, still you can have good fit. Okay, so you can already get good fit. So if I want to improve, I can do the improvement by doing some more things. And also this is bulk form, so it is already having very good crystallinity compared to your nano form. Okay, so we will see that difference in the next example. Okay, so I think it is already fine. So what I would prefer to do is I will try to do the refinement of background also, so that it may give better fit. So there may be some impurities here in this case. Okay, so there is some peak here which is not taken into account. So if I want to do background, easier way is just go and use it in EDPCR. Okay, you can do it here also, but I need to give number for each of these values. So, but if I use the EDPCR, I can do it in one click. Okay, so I'll just say okay, refine everything. Then I'll do for 5 cycles. Okay, number of cycle is 5. Then what I will do, I'll just run it. Okay, you can do from EDPCR, or you can do it from your Win edit. Okay, or WinFlutter. So chi-square is fine, but as I told, RP-RW would be high because it is not a good data. Okay, it is having a lot of noise. So now what I will do is I'm going to stop that background. So let us assume this is fine with us. So let us assume this is good profile fit. So even though you can improve it a little bit, so let me try to do Y also, just in case if I can improve. I want to get rid of some difference here. So I think it's okay, like it's not getting better, any better. I'll give one more trial. So you can see almost it is not going better than this. Okay, so I will stop it at this point. So when you want to do it on a notepad, you should remember, like if I put 1 1, that means I'm going to the I'm asking the program to change the value of this 0. That means I'm asking the program to fit with this 0. Okay, if I put the 0, then I'll put 1 0. That means it should not change during the when we try to fit this data. Okay, in the same way, if I putting 21, this means this is the second parameter which needs to be changed. This is not linked to 0, so I have to give a different one. Okay, 21. So it is easier in case of your EDPCR, because in EDPCR you don't have to give these numbers. Your program is putting the numbers by itself. Okay, but if you're using your if you're using a notepad, then you need to give these numbers. Okay, so what I will do, I'll stop this refinement. If I put 0, that means it should not change during the when the program is running. Okay, so then I'm also I will get rid of these x and y. Okay, so as I wanted the x and y to change in the previous case, so I gave, so this is the fourth parameter which the program has to change. Then this is the fifth parameter which the program has to change. Okay, so that is how, if you want to now if I want to change w, then what I need to give the next number. So how to see what is the next number? Easier way is to go here. Okay, number of refined parameters. Right now it is having 5 parameters are refined. Okay, so if I want to do the next one, then I need to know this is a 61. Okay, so if I give w is equal to 61, then what happens? This will be the next parameter which is going to change during the program is ready. Okay, so as we already have some decent profile match, I'm going to stop all the profile matching. Okay, so profile matching is for getting the proper value for your ABC and your instrument parameter. Okay, so instrument parameter, first one was with the first one is your zero shift, which is due to your shift in the peaks due to instrument contribution. Next is you should you should take care of UVW and XY. Okay, so as I am using Thomson Cox Hastings peak shape model, so I need to fit only X and Y. I don't have to worry about U, V, and W. Okay. So now, once you did very good, or once you have a decent profile fit, then what you go to do is, so you can see the difference is somewhat okay. It's not too much. Okay. So in that case, I can use this as the starting model for ritual refinement. Okay. So for that, what you do is you just copy this this file. Okay, so I will go here, I will copy this. Where is the PCR? Okay, so I'll copy the PCR, I'll paste it. Okay, so I'll paste, make a copy of that. Then I'll just put some word, some different word. Okay, I can put a or a atom. So this is just to differentiate that this is different than the previous one. So now you open this, you can either open using a notepad, or you can also do it in your EDPCR. Okay, so I'll open in both. So I will try to open it in notepad. Then I will show you what are the things which is changing. Okay, so then I will also open it in EDPCR. Okay, so this is your atom bulk atom. So now till now what we did is we did a profile matching. So now we want to do a structural refinement or ritual refinement. So for this, I need to change this to structural model. Okay. So then you go to contribution, and so this is your X-ray, and then Thomson Cox Hastings peak shape. You should also change this to automatically generate from Spacebook. Okay. So if you don't do this, then it will give some error message. So you should take care of this one now. Okay, so during each run, you are asking the software to generate your HTL parameters, which is your Miller indices, from the space group. Okay, whatever space group you are giving, so from that you should take. Then you just check the symmetry. So symmetry is fine because it is already, we are taking the same symmetry. Now I save it. Okay, once I save it, and if I come back here, So what it will do is, you can see here in the previous one, like I will drag this in. Okay, so this is your profile fitting. In case of profile fitting, you can see JBT was 2. Okay, in case of your ritual refinement fitting, which is a structural model, JBT will be 0. And IRF is equal to 0 means you are generating the HKL parameters automatically. If it is 2 means it will look for the file. So if you go back to this uh, folder, you can see there is a file here, HTML file. Okay, so in this case, in profile matching, what happens? It will when you run the program first time, it will generate the HTML file, and it will just use, your program is to going to just use this same HTML file uh, for the reflections. Okay, your Miller indices reflections. But in case of your ritual refinement, you can ask the program to make a new HTML files. Okay, so that is the difference. Then what is the next thing is, I need to give the number of atoms. Okay, so we will do that again in the your this same thing. Okay, so I will go to refinement. So now what happened, your atom is activated. Okay, so if I open the same file, edpcr. Okay, so I'll just minimize this. If I open the your profile matching, so this is your profile matching, and if you go to refinement, you won't see you will see that your atom is not activated. Okay, because for Libé fitting you don't need information about the atoms, but when we do the structural model, then what happens, your atom is activated. Okay, so this is the difference between your Libé fitting and your atomic fitting. Okay, so now I'll go to this one, and then I can put number of parameter atoms are 2. Okay, because I will go to this one, EMD data. Okay, EMS data. So if you go here, you can see there are two atomic positions. One is for iron, and the next one is for oxygen. Okay, so if you, even though it is Fe2O3, you don't have to always give 2 times iron to and then 3 times oxygen. You need only one coordinate for iron, one coordinate for oxygen, and then you, as you're giving the space group information, so your program will generate the rest of those positions. Okay, so you don't have to give all the positions. For example, in case of your next one, I think yes. So this is okay. I think I closed it. It's fine. So I'll get rid of this. Okay, fine. So sometimes in some zip files you will see more number of space groups. Okay, so that means it is generating all the possible Wyckoff positions. Okay, but you in principle you don't have to give all the positions. Your program will generate by itself. Okay, so that is one thing. So now what we'll do, I will give these informations here. Okay, iron is in the first iron is in this Wyckoff position 0.355. Okay, the same thing is I have to put here. Label you can give anything. I will just put Fe or Fe1. Okay, then iron is Fe, which is your iron element, and then your positions are 0, 0, and 0.333. Okay, so 0, 0, 0.355. Okay, so in case of your cubic system, what happens, your sodium was sitting in 000 position. Okay, and then your oxygen was sitting in something like 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. But this is not a cubic system. Instead, this is a hexagonal system or tetragonal system or orthorhombic system. In that case, it may not be exactly in the on the 000 position. Okay, it may be somewhere in the middle of your unit cell. Okay, so that is the reason your XYZ would be different. So I'll put starting B iso as 0. Then I'll put this as 0, 1 for now. Then we will calculate. Okay, So label, I think it should be FE or FE1, whatever you want. Okay. Then oxygen 1 or just oxygen O is fine. In case of type, you need to always put O. I should not put O1 or FE1. Okay. So because this will not recognize. So if I put O, that means this the software will know that this is a oxygen atom. Okay. And if I put Fe, the software will recognize this is a iron atom. Okay. If I put Fe1, then I will get a error message. So these things you need to take care. Okay. Then the Wyckoff position for oxygen is 0.3059 and then 0.00, then 0.25. Okay. So these things I'm getting from the zip file. Okay. So then I'll put this is 0.25 and then I'll put this is 1. Okay. But we'll calculate the Wyckoff position from the using the formula. Okay. Then I'll say okay. I'll just say okay. Then I'll save it. So now if I go here, initially we made it JBT equals 0. This means we are doing structural model. So as we have changed the file using EDPCR, so it is asking to update the information. So I will say, okay, I want to update it. So now we can see the number of atoms became 2, and then it also gave these atomic positions. Okay, Fe is in 0.34. These information we gave it in the in our EDPCR. Okay, so now what I will do is I will try to just refine this uh, one time. So I will refine it. But when you want to refine, so in case of profile matching or profile fitting, you have to change the 0 code. In case of ritual refinement, you have to change the scale. Okay, so this is what I explained in the yesterday's seminar. Okay, so I will go back to that slide. Maybe it is better. So, so this is for profile fitting. So when you are doing profile fitting, you have to change 0, then ABC and EVWXY, and also if there is any asymmetry, you can do that. Okay. So in case of your ritual refinement, you have to change the scale factor, and then you have to change the XYZ and then occupancy and BIZ. Okay. So this is what we did. So I will come back to this again. So I will first give a one trial run. This one. Okay. So I'm going to just run it one time. Let me see if there is any if it is running well or not. So you can see initially it is giving a high value for this. Later, if you ask it to run again, then it will change it. Okay. So I think I didn't change the 0, so that is the reason. Sorry, I didn't change the scale. Okay, scale is fixed, so it is not running. Okay, so I'm going to change the scale now. Then save it. So if I go back to, you can see it has put a new number for scale. Okay, so now let us see what happens in this case. Okay. So just a minute, let it run. So now you can see it has come down to 2.3. Okay, and even it is your intensity has come down. So I will say okay, you can change. So you can see, you just observe the scale. Okay, so only the scale would have changed. So it has changed from minus e to power of minus 2 to e to power of minus 4. And what I will do is I will just try to see the fitting. So for that, I'm going to just go here, reset this, and then I'm going to open the PRF. Okay. So I'll open this. This is for your profile fitting. So this PRF is for your ritual fitting. Okay. So now you can see it is somewhat okay, but there is some small change in the intensity. So what I will do is I will just try to free the B-iso parameters. Okay. So again, when it comes to occupancy, let us see what is the occupancy. Okay. So I think I explained this in the last session. So what you do, you go to tools and then you go to space group information. Okay. So go to tools and then space group information and you give the space group. In our case, it is R minus 3C. That is the space group for the hematite. And then what happens, it opened a new window. So if I go back here, first thing what I need to do is I will open this also along with that. So I need to know the multiplicity. Okay, so for we did this for NaCl. I will do copy it for again, and then I think let me change the color. Okay, so the red one is for your we are going to do it for Fe2O3. Okay, so I will change this is Fe and then O. Okay, so now I'll get rid of this. I don't want all these things. Okay. So let me see the general multiplicity. Okay. So what is the general multiplicity for your R minus 3C. Okay. So I'll go back here and then if you see the general multiplicity in this case is 36. Okay. In the previous case it was 192. Now it is 36. So I will change this to 36. This is your general multiplicity. Okay. And the fraction here it is as I'm having it is for Fe2O3. Okay. So the fraction would be 2. I'll put here it is 2. In the second case it is 3. Okay. Or okay. Now I need to check what is the multiplicity of the site. Okay. So for Fe and O. So for this again I will go back to this one and I should know the space site, which site. Okay, so for that what I do, I just go down. There are different sites here. Okay, so in this case what happens is if you go here this so the first one which is my so if I take Fe is in 0 0 some value here. Okay, in the previous case it was 0 0 0, so I can, if it is 0 0 0 then I can take 6b is the site for your Fe. But here what happens, it is 0 0 some value, this can change. Okay, so 0 0 z, okay, 0 0 z or 0 0 minus z, it is 12c. Okay, so 12c is the your multiplicity for your or the site for your Fe. Okay, so I will go back here. So it is 12c. I'll put 12. Okay, and then so let me keep it is 1 for now. Okay, then I will change later. Then what I'll do, I'll look for the same site for the iron. Okay, so sorry, oxygen. Oxygen is something like some value here, then 0, and this is 0 0.25 is 1/4. Okay, so 1 by 4, 1 by 4 is your value. So what I will do, I'll go back here, and if I see something like x0 and 1 by 4, if you see here x0 1 by 4, so this is already x is the first value is changing and the second y value is 0 and then the last value is fixed again 1 by 4. Okay, so you have to take this side, so your oxygen would be sitting in the 18 e side. Okay, so I'll put this is my 18. Okay, so if you take this ratios already this is like if I divided this by okay, then multiplicity is general multiplicity is 36. Okay, then what happens, this is coming out like if I normalize this, then this will be 2 and then this will be 3. Okay, I will tell you why. Okay, so 36 is common for all, and then in case of your in case of your iron, So this is 12C. So 12C means it is 12. So I'll have 12. I will just write it as 12. And then the next one is 18. Okay. So this is the normalized value. And if you take the ratio, this will be I can divide again by 6, then it will be almost equal to 2, and this will be equal to 3. Okay, so then the fraction would be like Fe2. So if I divide it by 2, I think, yeah, this has to come in the numerator. Okay, so then you can still keep the occupancy as 1 1. Okay, so this is what I did in the previous case. So, or when I was running the program, I kept it as 1 1. Okay, so you can see occupancy was 1 1. So that means this is already taken care in terms of your sites. Okay, so 12 site and 18 site. So this will come as the 2 by 3. Okay, so this is your 12C and then 18E site. Okay, so iron is in 12C and then your oxygen is in 18E site. So this is one way to get the occupancy. Okay, so normally this fraction and then general multiplicity fraction is there. Okay, so sorry, fraction should be in the upper one. Okay, so I think I will leave it like that. So now what I will do is I will just go further and I will try to change these values. Okay, so I can as I told, if I go to atoms, this can change the position and then this position also can change. So I will just change these positions and I will just try to refine it again. Okay, so your chi-square is slightly reducing. And I'm going to stop it. Okay, so next further what you can do is you can further you can also try to do refinement for BISO and then occupancy. Okay, so this is what you can do in case of your ritual refinement. Okay, so you can see here site occupancy. If I just make it big, so then you can see you can also change the thermal parameter, which is your BISO. Okay, what is the BISO? This is the uh, this will give to the refinement of atomic position due to thermal agitation. Okay, or your iron will be vibrating at its own position due to the temperature. Okay, so as I am done this X-ray diffraction at room temperature, even at room temperature, your oxygen and iron will be slightly vibrating. Okay, so they may not be vibrating at very large values, but slightly they will be vibrating. So to take care of that, we have to we can do the refinement of BISO. Okay, so but right now, what I will do, I'll just stop it here because this I just wanted to show how to do this because we lost some session in the afternoon. So yesterday, because there was some problem even in the video that you could not hear the video. There was some synchronization problem due to internet. Okay, internet connectivity. So that is why I just repeated this. So now you can further go and do the uh, further refinement, but and you can uh, reduce this values. Okay, chi-square value and also the difference. Okay, so if you take now right now, so I will open the first I will open the profile fit. You can see it was somewhat okay, like the difference was not too much, even though there is some small discrepancy, but still it was not that big difference. But if I open the same for ritual refinement, you can see there is some change in the intensity. Okay, so this intensity should be coming better. Okay, this has to be better. So how to get it better is by doing further refinement of your atomic position. Okay, and your BISO. Okay, so I can do this BISO for oxygen and iron. So let me see. I'll just do a quick run, and if I will see whether it is coming better. Okay, So yeah, I think it's okay. This has come down. Okay. So we have to see what is the value. So we'll see that values if it is so. But you can see now it has become better compared to previous time. And then what I will do is I will go here. I will see the values. So you can see oxygen is having very high negative value. So what I would do is I will just try to keep it as 1, something like that. So and then I'll fix it, and then I will also try to refine the iron, okay, occupancy. So at the same time, what I would do is I will go and I will generate the I think yeah, okay, let it run. We'll do it again in the next time. Okay, fine. Okay, so it has changed some little bit, so it is fine. So now what I do is I will try to generate some of these other parameters. Okay, so what I will do is I will go here, and then I will try to generate the CIF file. So I want a CIF file, which is your crystal information file, and I will also try to generate the Fourier file, okay, and then HKL file, okay, for having this. So I will generate this. I will generate this one. So you can see here, this is the data which is fitted. Fine. So now what I will do is I will make it less cycles. Okay. So I will again run this. Okay. So this is completed. So chi-square is okay, 1.49. And then if you see our RP and RW, they are still high because as I told, this data is not a good data. Okay, so it is very quick scan. It was taken only for 10 minutes or something like that. So that is one reason why your RWP or your RP will be higher. Okay. So now, as we have generated the CIF file, we will see we can also do the check the structural of this compound. Okay. So for that, what I will do is I will close this. So then I will go back to your foolproof. Okay. So foolproof suite. I'll open the foolproof suite, and then what I will do is I can open the Vista because I have already given a link for this. So once you if you do it one time, then it is already sitting there. Okay, so it is already linked with your Vista. So you what you do is you go to new structure, and first thing what you should do is you remove this structure. Okay, so you delete that structure. If you don't clear that structure, then what happens? It will try to just do some structural plotting from that data. Okay, so then what you do is you click on this import, and you should import the CIF file for your refinement. Okay, so this is the CIF file which is generated, and then I will open this. Okay, for because oh, sorry, this is wrong folder. Okay, I will go to this folder, then bulk, and you should take the one for your atom. Okay, so I'm going to open this, and then I will say okay. So now you can see this is your crystal structure for your Fe Fe2O3. Okay, so this is how it looks for your Fe2O3. Then if I want to change, so from balls I can go here. Okay, so some in case if you are not importing the CIF file, then you will not see these atoms. Okay, and also this column would be not active. Okay, so you cannot do any, you cannot choose these things. Okay, So that is one thing you should take care. So I can change from balls to space filled, and then I can also go for polyhedra. So polyhedra, you can see it is putting some polyhedra for iron atoms. Okay, and if I'm not happy with the color, so I can go and change in the object. If I go here, so if you want to change the color of atoms, you click on this atom, and then you, I will change this to some blue or green, whatever you want. So I'll change it to blue. So the atom has changed, but polyhedra is still in the same color. So I will go to polyhedra, and then I will change this color to red. So now you can see it has changed to red. Okay, so or I will change it to blue. Okay, so I will change it to blue, maybe very light blue, something like that. Then you can see, so this is your it is changing the color for polyhedra. Okay, so this is one way to get your crystal structure, okay, from your refined data. So then if I go back to this structure, then I can also find the bond distance. If I want to know what is the distance between uh, so I will try to keep it larger. Okay, so something is happened. Okay, so you can find the distance between two atoms. Okay, so Fe and O, the distance is so yeah, you should slightly go up. So the distance between these two atoms should be 2.11 angstroms. Okay, so say, but as this is not a cubic structure, you can also look for different what is it, bond distance, all distance. Okay, so this is one way of doing the bond distance. There's one more way where you can also do bond distance from. There's a dedicated program for that. Okay, so there is something called as bond strength. So run bond strength, you can run this program. So let me see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. So here what you should do is you should open the same zip file. Okay, so you click this blue button, you can open this zip file, and then you go to that folder, and then you import the zip file which you created just now. Okay, so this is for this. So if you import, it will update all the values. Then you just run this zip file. So I'll press enter. So now you can see it has generated some new file. Okay, so I think we are not done. We need to do some bond valence calculation, BVS. So this I will show it again maybe later. So you can, this is one program which can also give more on the bond valence of your sample. Okay, so that is one way, and then you can also find the bond angle and all these things using these different what is this tools here. Okay, so in your Vesta. So this is one example. Then what we did in the next one is we also did the G Fourier. Okay, so we run this G Fourier, and then you have to open again the same file. So I will go back to that folder, and then go to open the IMP file. Okay, and you have to run here. Okay, Fourier run. So your program is running right now, and when it stops, it will put the your Fourier transform. Okay, so you can go from one end to other end just like that. Okay, or you can just ask the program to simulate. So you can, it is simulated all the things. And if I want to see what are these atoms, then I have to just press this. Okay, activate the atoms representation. So if I do this, then what happens, it will show the atoms. Okay, what are the atoms which is present. Then if I go back with this, you can see so somewhere here you have your iron. Okay, and then these things would be some oxygen. Okay, so if you go from one layer to other layer, so this is your oxygen layer, so this would be somewhere in the middle is your iron. Okay, so this is how you can do the Fourier mapping. Okay, so you can also show this Fourier mapping in case of your in case of this using your G Fourier. Okay, so these are the things that you can do from your retool refinement. Okay, you can further do a lot of things, but I'm not showing right now because we have some constraint. So now what I will do is I will just take one example for multi-phase. Okay, so then I will show profile fit and also your retool refinement for multi-phase. So if you have any doubt, let me first answer those things. Okay, so can you show one with polynomial? Yeah, I think it's recording, right? Okay, fine. So can you show one with polynomial? This I will show again. Okay, so if I have time, because still I need to cover some more things. Let me first finish those things, then I will show this. Okay. So for a beginner, I think manual background is good, and this is better compared to polynomial. Okay, if you are using polynomial, sometimes what happens, your background would be going into your just wait, I will show one. So your background, what happens is sometimes it will go somewhere, instead of making this curve, sometimes it will go somewhere here. Okay, so if it is going in between the peaks, then you may lose lot of intensity of the peaks. And for the case of your ritual refinement, the intensity of peak is very important. Okay, so if your background is somewhere here, then you would be losing some of the intensity, which is not good. Okay, so normally this is good, but as you get used to this what is it refinement, you can try different backgrounds with 6 polynomial, with 12 polynomial. Okay, so 12 coefficients, 6 coefficients polynomial, you can use it. Okay, so for now I think this is better, so better go stick with your manual background. Okay, and then try to do the refinement. Okay, so then, so this 112131 code, so this is related with number of parameters. Okay, so if you want 0 is the first, then you use 11. Okay, then or you can even start ABC is 11. Okay, A is 11. If it is a orthorhombic, then what happens, ABC is going to change. Then you can put A code as 11, B code as 21, then C code as 31. Okay, so you can change these codes, and this code represent, so the first one represents the parameter, and if I put 0, then it means it change the value. If I put 0, so this is what I did in this case. Okay, so if I put 0, so I put 10, that means the this parameter is not going to change during the when I'm running the program. Okay, so you can do like that also, or you can just remove it. So I can remove this 10. Okay, so then that is also possible. Just okay, so that is also possible. Okay, so you can just get rid of that complete value. Okay, so sometimes I prefer to keep it like that. Later if I want to change or if I want to ask the program to change these values, then I can do that. Okay, so those things yeah. So the first is your number of parameter, and 1 means change, 0 means don't change. Okay, so these things you can control. Okay, so manually also you can control. So can you describe how you use this number? So these numbers are again, so as I told, this number represent the parameter. Okay, so in this case, ABC is also parameter, but I'm not changing during the running. So I don't want the I don't want the program to change, so I put 000. Okay, but I want to change the scale because I'm doing a ritual refinement. So I put, this is the next one. Okay, so this is the first parameter, this is the second parameter. So A is equal to B, so I'm using the same values, 2020, okay, or 2121. But this is not equal to C, so that is why I'm keeping a separate number. Okay, 30, so or 31. Now the next one is scale. Scale is different than your ABC parameter. So I'm keep a new number which is 41. Okay, and I want to change this because the program has to change the scale factor when you are doing the ritual refinement. Okay, so scale factor has to change when you run ritual refinement. So I am keeping 41. Okay, 41 means the value of this is going to change during running of this program. Okay, next function is, so our next parameter is your xyz. Xy is fixed in 0 0, so only the z is changing, so I can ask the program to refine this position. Okay, so that means there may be some slight displacement than the starting one. Okay, so when you take the starting value, so this was the starting value, for example, for this is the starting model that we used. So it was 0.30, sorry, 0.3553. But in our case, when we refine, it has slightly changed, not too much, like 0.3558. Okay. In the same way, second one. Okay. So if you take oxygen X parameter has changed from 0.3059. This is the model. Okay. This is a model which we started from the zip file. And if you see this, it has refined. Refined means it has changed the position slightly, okay, to the third decimal. But you don't have to change 0 and 1 4 because this is already fixed, okay. So these things you need to take care. Then you can also change BISO. If I want to change BISO, so the next number is, so after 6 it is 7. So I have to put here 71. And if I don't want to change, I can put 70. And if I want to change this, then I can put 81 or 80. And if I want to put change this, then I put 90 or 91. Okay. So in if I want to change this, then what happens? This is different than the previous one. So I have to put 10 and then 1. 10 1 means it is going to change. 10 0 means it's not going to change. Okay. So this is how you can actually give the number. So these numbers you need to remember. So if you don't want to do that, you can directly open it in EDPCR and then just click the button. Okay. So what I will do, I will just make it 0, this and this 0. Then I will save it and then I'm going to open the same file in the EDPCR. Okay. So and I will show you what it will do. Okay. So there are some more questions. Okay. So now what are the RP? So RP and RW are still high because the data quality is not changing because it is fixed, right? So that will be still high. If values are high due to not good data and we get low, is it worth publishing? See, as long as your reviewers are accepting the data, it's fine. You can explain that this data is not good because I could not connect for a long time. Then they will ask you to redo the scanning for long scan. Okay, instead of 10 minutes, they will ask you to collect it for maybe 2 hour, 3 hour. Then you have to redo the refinement on that good data, and then you can still publish. Okay, so this is just a starting point. Okay, so I'm not going to publish this data, just to show you I'm showing this. Okay, so but this is also one way to show what are the uh, how you have a high RP RW, still you can get low chi-square. Okay, so this is one of the example which I wanted to show. Okay, so instead of changing the codes from Notepad in PCR, we can do, yes, this is what I will show you now. Okay, so I have put this occupancy as 0 0. I'll open this PCR file using a EDPCR. Okay, so let me just get rid of this. It is already filled. So I'll open this PCR file. Bulk, then this atom. Then what I will do, as I was telling, I'm going to this attempts. Then I will ask the program to change it. Okay. So as I put some number, you can see it is already put the checkbox. Okay. So I will ask this to change. Then I will just save it, and then I will come back here. Okay. If I come back here, I will update the file. So you can see here it has put the values 90 and 10. Okay. So 90 and so I can also make it 0. Then that means I will ask the program not to change the values. Okay. So this is how you can actually do the different types of refinement. Okay. So this is one of the example. Then what are the things you can look here is you can go to that out file and you can look for the. So I think there are too many things on the web. Okay. I will close this. Okay. So what you can do is you can go here, you can go to tools and then our external one, then you can open the sum file. Okay. So sum file for your profile, sorry, your retool refinement. In the same way, I can also open for out file, out file. So this is a different file. So you can get more information about the fitting parameters. Okay. So you can go here. If you go here, you will see what are the fitting things it has been done. Okay, and it will also give your full width half sigma 2 theta calculated things. Okay, so these things would be used for crystal structure, sorry, crystallite size calculation. So I will show that also in a while. So you can see here what is the R values. Okay, and also in some dot sum file you get the R values. Okay, so this is R factor. So then if you go slightly higher, you can see here you can RP and RWP is very high. Okay, so this is your these are your R factors. Okay, because my data is not good, so R factor is very high. Okay, if you have anything less than 15 or less than 20, it is good. Okay, so that means your data is reliable. In our case, this data is not that reliable for retool refinement. Okay, still you can get the phase information, you can get the information about other things. Okay, so these are the values that you can get from your retool refinement. So I'll check if there is any other question. Okay, since BISO is a kind of energy, can its negative is acceptable? Yes, it's acceptable, especially when it comes to oxygen and low weight atoms like your oxygen fluorine. Uh, then it is actually it can go negative because there may be some distortion, high distortion for your oxygen. Okay, also there is one thing which you need to take care, like when you're doing a retool refinement on X-ray diffraction data, don't refine these values for your oxygen, fluorine, all those things. Okay, because they are less sensitive, because these are very small atoms and very light atoms. So for hydrogen, oxygen, you should not refine the occupancy data because they are very less sensitive for X-ray diffraction. But if you want to do more precise, then you should go for neutron diffraction. Okay, if you do a neutron diffraction, then neutron is more sensitive, or oxygen is more sensitive for neutron radiation, and then you can get better things for your or better information for occupancy and all those things. Okay, even in case of BISO, uh, whatever value you get here, this is not that highly reliable compared to what you do for neutron diffraction. Okay, if you do a neutron diffraction, then you can do better refinement with for this kind of low or very light elements like your oxygen, hydrogen. So in case of X-rays, X-ray is not a really good tool for probing these occupancy things. Okay, so these things you need to take care. But for heavy element is good, like for iron, cobalt, or titanium, cerium, all these things are heavy elements, so they give very good signal or reliable signal for your reliable signal for your these values. Okay, so this is one thing which you need to take care. So when you are doing retool refinement, so now what I will do is I want to show one more thing. So you can always start with new PCR by going for EDPCR. So okay, so one more way is just open the existing PCR. So for what I will do for this example is I'll go here, I will open the same PCR in whatever is there. Okay, then I will save it as a new PC. Okay, so I will, what I will do is I will go to this folder, I will put this as something like nano. Okay, and then what I will do is I will save this as fe2o3. nano. Okay, so this is a new sample. Okay, so I have saved it like that. Then what I do is I can actually, I'll go back. So I'll copy this nano Fe2O3 nano, and I will go to paste it here. Okay, so this is a data file, this is a PCR file. So instead of creating a completely new PCR, I can use the existing PCR for bulk sample. Okay, then I can just change the values, whatever values I want, and I can do that. Okay, so in this case, what you need to take care is when you start a new this one. So let me use EDPCR. Okay, I'll open this PCR file. So Fe2O3 nano. Then what I will do is I will go to this pattern, and then data file I will change it. Okay, I have to go and here and I will check this data file. So still it is XY format. So it is still XRD. So it is taking the same values from your previous PCR. Okay. So then I will just say okay, I am going to save it. Then I will go to phase, and then what I will do is, so this is I want to do profile matching. So in case of this, so the space group is same, but only thing is contribution for pattern. Here it is asking, okay, there is you have to look for the reflection file, but instead of that, I have to just make it as automatically generate from space group. Okay, and then what I will do is I will close this. I will save it, and if you want, I will go here. I will just see. Okay, 0 is refined, and then I need to change the background. Okay, so for that what I do is I will open the nano file. Okay, so I will import that. I will import this nano data. So then I will take the new background. Okay, so I will take select a background. Okay, so once you have sufficient background data, then you can save this background data with a new name. Okay, I will just put back, and then it has 15 data points. Okay, so I don't want to edit it. Instead what I'll do is I'll go back here to the background. So this is the background for bulk data. What I will do is I will import the new background data. Okay, so I am importing this background data, so which has 15 points. Previous one had 18 points. Okay, so you can take more points if you want, so it is left to you. So then what I will do is I will save it. So now this is ready for doing a profile matching. Okay, so if you want to go back again, you can check here. I'm refining the ABC parameters. This we will come back to this XY later. Okay, first always do only for ABC. Okay, so then I will just run it. So you can see already it is having some data, or it is just creating some data. So next thing is, if you open this uh, here a file, I go to this nano, it has created a new PRF file. You can see what is the things. So it is, there is a shift here, so you need to take care of that. So you need to still do the refinement. So I will use. I am more comfortable with the Notepad than the EDPCR. Okay, so I have to change this to auto because I think sometimes it is not changing due to this. Then I will check zero code is fixed, so I have to change this 1 1. That means it has to change during the running. That is the reason why it has not changed the position. You can see there is a shift in this position, and even ABC parameters are fixed, so it is trying to fit with the same old parameter. Okay, so I'm going to change these values, or I'm asking the program to change the value. So now let us see what is happening. Okay, so if I do this, if I run the program, now it should shift the peak positions. Okay, and your chi-square should go down. Let us see what happens. It is slowly going down, so it's okay. I will run one more time. You can see, if you want, you can see slightly shifted, but it's not completely shifted. So I will again run it. So you can run till this chi-square stops changing. Okay, so you can see here it is still changing. So what is the good thing is you can also always run it again. Okay, so I will run it again. Until it stops. Okay, once at some point it's going to stop. Okay, it's not going to change much. So at that point, what you can do is you can go for refining different parameter. Okay, so you check the data. So now if I check the data, you can see the peak has come to the center. Okay, so you can do the same thing for all the places. So you can see it is already in the center. Only thing, it's not matching the width. So now this is the shape. You need to change the shape of this. So what I do is, how to change the shape is, you have to just change the x and y. Okay, either you can do it here manually, or you can do it in your EDPCR. Okay, 51 41 and 51. So I'll just do both at once. But when you are doing, you can do one by one. Okay, you can just do only x, then you can do only y. So I'm just trying to make it faster. Okay, so now you can see it has come down. Okay, so it has come almost close to 1.53 or 1.48. So this is how you can use the existing so, but you should make sure this x and y is not more than 1. Okay, if it is going more than 1, then you should bring it back to less than 1, and then try to refine other parameters like your UVW parameter. Okay, so that is one thing you need to take care. So now this is the same fitting for your nano. Okay, so I will tell why I did this. So before that, what I will do is I'll just stop at this point, and then I will go to this small presentation. So you can see here the reason why I put this is the reason. Okay, so if you try to fit more parameter, then what happens, you get a better fit. Okay, so that is the meaning of fitting an elephant. So if I fit with 5 parameters, I may get some shape, but if I keep on fitting with more parameters, then what happens, as I go to higher number of parameters, I get better shape for the elephant. Okay, so this is how it is related with your ritual refinement. Okay, so this is what we did. So next, I will just quickly cover this part. Okay, so okay, I think I will cover this part, then we'll have a break, or we'll have a break and then we can come back. Okay, so one thing what you try to do is, you just try to do this kind of things. I will show as very simple one more thing what I wanted to show, because I have written something. So just okay. So we will do this after the break. Okay. So before that, before going to break, we will cover few things. Okay. So one thing is, I didn't show you how to convert your data. Okay. So I will open the Powdle, and then I will show one example how to okay. Then we will come back to this same example. Okay, P203 will come back. So if you want to convert any data, you can take the data which is coming from your machine. Then what you do is, you open it using your this one. So I have made some of this. Where is that? Okay, phase model. Okay, so here I have my data from the Panadical machine, which is the Philips XRD. So with .xrdml, so I can select all these things. Okay, then I open it. I think I will send you these files. So then what you do is, you can convert it into XY format. So if with just one click, you can convert this entire thing into XY. Okay, so you can see here it is running. Once it is finished, you will ask whether you want to open. I will open the file, the folder. So if you click yes, then what happens is, it has opened the folder. So you can see here it has converted all this data from XRDML to XY format. Okay. So if I open this XRDML using WinEditor, or so it will look like this. Okay, it is not having any XY formats. Okay, so but the same data like TiO222 dot XY, if I open this TiO222 dot XY, which has just converted, you can see it has converted. You are having data for 2 theta and intensity. This is your XY format. Okay, so you can use this XY format to do a ripple reformant or profile matching. So sometimes it will be difficult to directly use the data which is coming from uh, XRD machine. So for that you can use this model. Okay. So depending on if you are using some rigor or syntax, then it will give the file in .raw. Okay. So maybe I think I have this somewhere here. Okay, so I have this data. This data is with .raw. So it is from Bruker machine, so or Rigoku machine. So if I have this raw data, then you can use this. You can accordingly you change the format here. Okay, I will do this. Then what I will do is I want to convert into .xy. I will just ask you to convert. So I have already done the conversion. So it is asking, do you want to replace it? Okay, so I will just say okay, yes, replace it. Then if I open it, so I think yeah, this is your XY format. So it has overwritten the existing XY, but it will not overwrite your raw file. This is your old one. So you can see the date. It was 18/3. It was in during March, okay, 2017. So this is a original data from your X-ray machine, but it has created a new XY format. Okay. So if I open this raw again in a notepad, you will get some machine language because you cannot understand. The same thing happens with your full proof. Okay, full proof cannot understand this. But if I open this XY format, which we have just converted, so you can see there is two columns. One is for 2 theta, second one is for intensity. Okay, so this is how we can actually convert to different formats, whether it is from Panadical or from Bruker. Okay, so next one more thing what I could not show you in the first class is I will go back. I will open this three-dimensional plotting. Okay, so I will open this old PCR, sorry, old WinPlotter, which is your 2006. Then I will try to import the data, which is I think again it is there 3D plot. Okay, example. So I have some data for different composition of cobalt. So this is a series where you are changing the cobalt concentration. So I am going to just click all the XY format, or you can sorry. So I will take all the .dat file. This is the same XY file, but which is saved as .dat. Okay, and I will open it. Okay, so this is your X comma Y. So this is XY Z sigma. Okay, so yeah, I think you need to open one by one. So let me do that. I will open one by one. 3D plot. So I will with cobalt 2%. I think there's some problem. Okay, let me try one more time. So let us take XY. Okay, it's better. XY is working. So I will open the next file XY. So it will stack everything. Okay, one by one it will stack. 4 XY, then 5 XY, and then 6 XY. Okay, so maybe 6 XY. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 different compositions with cobalt variation. Okay, so and if I zoom it, you can we can already see there is a change in this phase. Okay, so this is how you can visualize. There is one more way, like if I want to look give a model, I can show like this. Okay, so this is a 3D model. You can use your mouse and you can change the rotation. Okay, so this is, you can see here, this two peaks is actually changing into a single peak. Okay, so this is some phase change when you are having a different thing. Okay, so you can also show this kind of 3D plots. I can just save this as a save as a, okay, so I think I can save it as a WD format, or I can print it as a with PDF. Okay, so you can choose whatever area you want. Okay, so what I do is I want to change this, or I want to show this only these two peaks. Then I can choose this two peaks. Then I can actually plot it as a 3D plot. Okay, so you can see here. So this is one way you can show phase diagrams or phase changes. So if you are doing a temperature dependence, so if you take a anatase, for example, sample, and you take XRD at different temperature, okay, you eat it at a different temperature, maybe like 500, 600, 700, 800, maybe, and 900. Okay, so after 650 you will see that is changing to rutile form. Okay, then you can collect those 3-4 data, and then you can plot it using this wind plotter, and then you can show the phase change. Okay, so you can see here, so you can see there is a phase change. So so these things you can do it, okay, by using this old wind plotter. Okay, so because I didn't show this in the first day, I just wanted to show it again. Okay, so there is also interactive mode. So this is your interactive mode in 3D plot. Okay, so this is your multi files. If you have more than one, 3, 4 files, you can show them. Okay, so these two things I wanted to cover. So now what I will do is I will leave you. We will come back at 11:30. So try to, if you want, you can have a break and then you can come back. So, and try to log in using a different uh, ID. Okay, so we have a different ID for next session. So you try to log in that session. So 11:30 we will start and we'll try to finish the crystallite size. Okay, so I will give a very short, maybe some 15-20 minutes presentation on crystallite size. Then we will try to wrap up with multi-phase refinement. Okay. So with this, if you have any question, I will take the question before leaving. If not, we will stop at this point. Okay. I think I have answered all the questions. So let us stop at this point, and then we will come back at sharp maybe at 11:30. Okay. So try to log in back at so I will 11:30. So we will come back and then start the next session.